Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and a brand new video on Marvel Contest of Champions. Feels good to be back. I'm making fresher content now that I've improved my setup, running the Elgato with the iPhone 7 Plus, with all the correct connections that require this to kind of work in a very smooth manner. So it means that everything's more responsive, it means that my live streams are going to be better, but more on that to come when I eventually do a live stream. Now, this is all about the Web-slinger challenge. A lot of people have gone, yeah, it's piss easy that, like I completely did it in my sleep. And others have gone, hey, I'm struggling a bit, like, is anything that we can do the better? And the answer is yes, you can do. If you saw Seaton's video, it's a great video. Also, he can do it with 3 stars. Now, a lot of people won't be as skilled, a lot of people will be as skilled. So there's got to be a good balance between the people that find this easier and a lot of people that find this harder. So hopefully this video can give a little bit of insight as well as help for that situation when you eventually get into the Web-slinger challenge. So to start off with, these are the rewards. They're pretty darn tasty. I will be doing another video, an opening of these spicy rewards. As you can see, you can really form up some real decent stuff. 4-star, you know, tier 4 class catalyst crystal. Man, that doesn't get any better than that. That's pretty cool to have. And a lot of people have said, yeah, well, they're not using quite so much as they did with the last challenge event, which is the Batistas, but there's still a lot of few kind of niggly little things that can get one quite peed off. As you'll see when you open this up, there are 4 different quests within here to do, 4 different rounds even, and in these you will find the difficulty level change. The first 1 to 3 are kind of copeable. When it comes to people with really low rating, you may struggle up to round 3, but there are ways around this kind of thing that are quite helpful. Just to remember, you know, Rhino's very predictable movesets. Things of skill can be kind of a great asset. You know, you've got great bleeders and great poisoners, which, you know, can counteract that. And obviously Venom for round 2. Venom's not amazingly difficult, but you have to remember with regards to tentacles to kind of avoid them as much as possible. So giving plenty of distance is always pretty important when it comes to seeing those L1s and L2s coming at you. Don't push champions up to L3s, for the love of God, don't. And when it comes to Electro, it's all about, I think, you know, it's nice to use Ultron because of the kind of energy displacement, the kind of energy absorption. That's pretty cool, as well as characters like, well, you could do Captain Marvel, but there's so many different characters you can use between rounds 1 and 3 that aren't going to give you too much trouble, and you know, it's not going to give people too much trouble. You can persevere and get through. It's only when you come to round 4 that the real changes happen, and you can see yourself getting a little bit frustrated. Now this is my team. I've got Nightcrawler, I've got Captain Marvel, I've got Hulk, I got Dormammu, and I got Ultron. Now, not the most amazing team setup, and I probably could have changed that out, but I think it's that old saying that whatever works for some will probably not work for others, and people will just go whatever they like. I always think about Marvel Contest of Champions in the vein that you should choose whatever characters you find most comfortable. However, though, there are exceptions to this in that characters that bleed and poison sometimes can be a little bit more effective, especially if you want to do a maximum amount of damage. When it comes to what I found completely helpful in this was Nightcrawler. Like, Nightcrawler was amazing during this, and I had this really kind of regimented set in that I'd start off against Spider-Man here, and Spider-Man was a big nuisance when it comes to all those evading. So I fight fire with fire. And I believe that the fire, to kind of extinguish the fire or try to kind of blaze down the fire, is Nightcrawler. One character that completely annoys you by this amount of evades against another character that pisses you off for the amount of evades. It seems like a kind of one of those things where it's like, anything you can do, I can do better. And I did feel like that with using Nightcrawler. Obviously, we'll talk about other characters you can use in a moment. But then when it came on to Symbiote Spidey, Dormammu, like I think it was Dennis, somebody on Twitter that follows me, said about Dormammu was kind of like a beast for this guy, and it's like, I found that exactly correct, and that's the character that I use, and I cannot wait to get my Dormammu up to rank 4. That's the only time I've ever been lucky with featured, so hey, I'll relish the opportunity. SpiderGwen's pretty pants and very predictable. The great thing about this quest is life transfer. The extent of hits, you know, you've got to hit as much as you'll get hit back. in order to get those life points. And if Kabam go down that route with regards to that kind of mode, I know people are going to say, yeah, you're going to find that easy, but it does mean that we go into this very kind of liberal way, and very socialist way, and very community-esque kind of things, that a lot more people are able to get the results that a lot of higher rated players are able to get. And I like that. I think that is the pure essence of a good community, everyone pulling together and also kind of delivering on an equal playing field. When it comes to what she's all about and what she can do, it's only L2 really that you have any kind of nuisance with. I have tried to kind of, while she's in L1, kind of sprint over and try and do a kind of a chase down and like attack with that, like a dash attack, and 9 times out of 10 it works. There are a few times where it hasn't landed, and it's like as she's doing the backflip and I'm going to kind of reach in, that, you know, she's just like avoids it, and it has been a bit annoying because as soon as you get hit and that armor starts stacking on, this is the fissure, it does become a little bit annoying. But apart from that, she's not too much with regards to trouble, and I did find that when I was using Nightcrawler for her, I was kind of stripping it down, not literally, because that sounds completely wrong. Miles Morales I did find at times a little bit frustrating and annoying, largely for the things like mirror image. The power lock was a bit annoying, because when I thought, oh yeah, I've got power, and it's like, and then it's depleted, that was a little annoying. So I think using champions that either you keep them at bay, and you can do Miles Morales with the stun. There are ones that are stun immune, that is the Stark one, but we'll go into that in a minute. Do look out for that. The symbiote as well has an unblockable L1, which can cause a little bit of kind of a nuisance, but you shouldn't really have much trouble with regards to bypassing that by, you know, different means, working hard against the character, putting things like bleeds, you know, bleeds and poisons, and we'll go on to that in a minute about the perfect team, because there's no kind of real, there is a perfect team for this. It's all about, again, your own personal preference and what champions you want to use. Of the team that I used, did I want to change anything? I felt that my team could have been stronger. I'm being very, very critical about that. I felt that I could have replaced Hulk and added in Captain America World War II. And I was kind of like disappointed with that, because I did the first 3 rounds with this team, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. And I think I just got to like the second, third, I think it was the third lot of kind of like third wave that I was going through, and then I was like, I kind of wish I might have changed my loadout a bit. I may have then said to myself that characters that projectile kind of avoidance, and we're looking at things like Daredevil, may have been a little bit more better for the situation. But there are so many characters you could potentially use for this. The Stark Spidey, going back to the list of characters, this one I did find a little bit annoying, but I persevered and got through. The kind of lead champion that I found most effective was Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel was just there for me, absorbing the attacks. She was hitting out a good amount with regards to Fury, and the consistency with damage was really there. I was getting a few crits as well, which I was quite happy about, and as well having an L3 strategy with this, trying to get the L1 of Spidey off more, because it's more avoidable against the L2, which has the projectiles in it, and can be very frustrating when you get hit by those projectiles, I must admit. And was a great source for, you know, a few mistakes with regards to damage that. And I wasn't perfect. I did have to, you know, revive and not heal, because heal potions for this is pretty non-existent, especially if you put on if you put 20% on 20% revive, you'll probably end up finding that you're putting on and the kind of a level 2 would be better. Let's talk the boss man, the Vulture, who is actually, funny enough, the boss in Spider-Man Homecoming. Alright movie. I'm not going to talk about that film too much, but I do have my criticisms largely with it, but apart from that, it's alright. Okay, but Vulture. Now what does he get? Obviously, we're going to look for more kind of power and stun immunity. That's a big nuisance. The L3 build-up, the L3 bias, But I found that he wasn't like getting up to that point of doing the L3. So, you know, I found using characters like Dormammu, you know, he was like taking up a lot of the power locking. But then building up a lot of stuff with regards to the getting imbued and the effects from imbued coming off the back of that. However, though, the kind of like main shaving down of points off this enemy character was Captain Marvel, keeping her at the L1 because that was the big nuisance. The hill block, that was a bit of a nuisance as well, but the kind of main emphasis is don't get hit. The heavy attack from Vulture has got a two-part to it, so it's always best to wait for it's kind of like the legs down, kick out. So you have to watch out for that, because sometimes it can be felt that you can attack, and I have attacked and got it on the first kick down and kick up, like basically like falcon talons coming down. And when those falcon talons are coming down, that it can be seen as like, oh yeah, I'm going into attack. To kind of avoid that, I would say that wait for that second kind of, I call the talon opens. When the talon opens, so look out for the talons on the enemy Vulture opening, and you can just go straight in after that. The L1's quite good because he shoots over this kind of like his wings. So watch out for the wings landing, because as soon as they look like they're going to attach to his back, you've got to run in, you've got to dash and start hitting through, because that's something to watch out for. Other than that, it's just keeping that power at bay, trying to stick to the L1. The L2 requires a lot of distance, like I'm talking 3 swipes and then a further 4th swipe at the end, just to ensure that you're not getting hit by, I think it's some kind of like thunder type thing, like a shock that can really screw your game over. So that's the thing, really with the character, keep your distance, but at the same time try and apply pressure and take down power. Maybe characters that power locking, power burning can be of effective nature for this. Remember poisoning and remember bleeding, that's so important. And with regards to characters that you can use in your team, let's have a quick look. Now there are plenty of exceptions to the rule of kind of use, and you know, I think I would have liked to have maybe tested out, and I probably will kind of like run the test of it, of using a lot of skill-based champions because of their effectiveness over some of the, obviously the class advantage is vitally important, and that is the kind of the way that maybe we should go. Black Widow could be used. I'm not saying she would be a good fit, but maybe good to kind of reduce down some kind of signature ability, because it can be a bit of a nuisance. You know, Black Widow against Spider-Man Classic seems a little bit better because he's a bit of a dick. And then you've got a lot of projectiles, because you've got projectiles from web shooters. Maybe characters like Daredevil would be quite effective. The same way that top bleeders would be good, like highly signatured Black Panther, the OG version. Agent Venom off the L1, but there are also other characters that can be vitally effective. Seaton effectively used Gwenpool, but if you don't have a Gwenpool and you're not putting in the around about 7 million over this weekend to get her, which you know I'm hoping I can put in, but I don't know, then you may not have her, so you may have to look to other characters. Then it comes to other classes, and you know, skill classes can be quite good to kind of help you out here. I think that's maybe the emphasis with it, but there are also other helpful things, maybe characters on the mutant line that can be quite effective, that bleed, as well as, you know, a little bit of crit damage here or there. So you've got your Wolverine X23s, you've got standard Wolverines. There's so many different characters. Don't worry about regen, but do worry about, if you are regenning, Miles Morales will try and mirror image that regen. So it may not be best to use a character that has regen abilities, because you will find yourself being kind of stumped by going against the character that is is like, oh yeah, if anything you can regen, I can regen better. So watch out for that. However, on the mutant line, Archangel can be quite effective for the rate of poisons as well as bleeds. And any character that kind of bleeds and poisons, I'm not saying take Abomination in. All I'm simply saying is that maybe look to, you know, creating that high amount of damage. I found great effectiveness with Nightcrawler, but that's based on the amount of damage that I was able to lay down, and it was like I was consistent, like putting down serious hurt and pain. So most of the enemies are kind of very spongy, so they like to bleed like a bitch. So bleed those things like a bitch. So thanks very much for watching this video. If you haven't completed Web-slinger challenge, then hopefully this video will be helpful for you. For the ones that have completed, yeah, that's my boys. Well done. Well done. And we go on to the next thing. And yeah, thanks very much for all the support. Sorry the content hasn't been as good as it should be, and hopefully I make it up going forward. So not make it up because I don't want to make up shit, but you know, I'll make it up as I make it up to you by creating quality and better content. Yeah. Anyway, catch you on the flip side. Bye bye for now.